Hey guys, welcome back. So as part of this video, we're gonna go over the code which I've written so far. We'll go ahead all these classes and interfaces and the configuration which you've done so far. Then we'll do some refactoring of the code, such as running the same application in different environments without changing the source code. And then we'll go ahead and talk about some deep concepts of Couchbase. So first of all, let's see what are the classes and interfaces which you built. So first class which you build is the student class. It's an entity class in line with the bucket which you have created in Couchbase, right? If you look at here, uh, this is the bucket we had created, right? So then we created the repository interface. Let's go to the repository interfaces. So this is the Spring data repository. It's same as other Spring data modules like JPA. So it extends the CRUD repository and it provides same built-in queries and derived query mechanism. And we have added one custom method as a derived method which is executed by the N1QL engine, which is part of the Couchbase SDK. And that we have already seen by creating the index and all. We'll go into the deep of Couchbase when we'll talk about the concepts in detail. So the next class which you've created is the Couchbase configuration. So this is the configuration class which where we configure the Couchbase host, the bucket name, and the password and all everything. So basically, we earlier what we are doing is we are reading from by giving the hard coded stuff like this localhost. So now what we have done is we read it from the environment, right? So environment interface which extends the property resolver, which has the concepts of profiles and property, which will go in the details shortly. So this is what we are doing earlier by providing the node names as hard coded, but now what we've done is we created a application.properties and we have given this key and value pair. Then we're using in the Couchbase configuration class, which represents the configuration of Couchbase, right? Um, let's revert back this. So this is the Couchbase configuration class. Then we created one interface called student interface, and the related implementation class, which implements the student service. Then we created a controller, which is the presentation layer, where we provide the request mapping where the web request comes from the UI. Then we created a bunch of methods, basically the post method, which creates a document or inserts a document into this bucket, student bucket, and there are some get methods, delete method, all this we created. Um, so that's all. And the main class is when we created the applications through Spring Initializer. This main application had already been created, right? And so that's all about the class interface which we created. Now, as we promised, we will refactor the code a bit so that this application will run in different environments. So now, if you look at it here, if you look at here. Right now we are reading this Couchbase host bucket name and password from the property file. So we have the environment and at where the environment interface of Spring Annotations, and we are using env.get property method. So this get property method is part of your property resolver, which environment interface extends, right? And we just do environment.get property Couchbase host bucket name, and it will work the same way. So if you run these applications and check, let's run this. Okay, the application got started. Now let's go ahead and do we have the document already 002. Let's go at 004. Okay, this is the gate. We need a post. The body will give 04. Okay, not allowed. Okay, so it's a post method. Wait, this is a URL basically, right? So 200. Okay, now let's go ahead and take a look of your Couchbase document. 004 got created, right? If you look at the document, so your first name, last name, address, and one more thing. So you are seeing here the underscore class. There is an attribute the Spring Data adds each whenever you create a document in Couchbase, or you insert a document in Couchbase. Spring Data by using Spring Data Couchbase, it adds one attribute called underscore class, which represents the entity class, right? So, but this may create a problem when you are trying to fetch the JSON object in a mobile app or anywhere else. It may create a problem. It may or may not. So to avoid this, what we can do is there is a type key method in abstract configuration. There's a type key method, so we can override this. In earlier videos, I had already uncommented this, but I wanted to show you the benefit of this. So you can just do return type or return class, whatever you want. So in that way, if you override this, the underscore will not come up. So let's look at here, and let's start again. So now let's run the same endpoint, and we'll see it will update that. The dot same method does both insert and update. So now let's look at here, data bucket, document, see the underscore gone, right? So that's the concept of type key method. So now let's look at here, as we said. So see, application.properties. So now this is fine for one environment, but what if, like, if you want to run for, dev environment, Q environment, production environment, how are you going to achieve this one? This will not solve our problem. So for that, what you can do is you can create an application.yaml file. So let me tell you, so the Spring Boot starter, it adds the Snake YAML libraries in the class path when you create a Spring Starter project. So if you look at here, you're seeing here Snake YAML jar file. So it already supports. So if you place one YAML file here, it will read from there. So now let's look at let's create one YAML file. And we'll make sure, like, it will read from the YAML file. So we will rename this file application one.properties, and okay, so now let's do one thing. Let's copy paste the content so it will save our time from my GitHub repo. So right now I'm using 4.6 version of Couchbase. I don't need the password. I can give the default empty password, but later on in Spring 5.0 onwards, you need to provide one password based on the username. And one more thing, you need to create a username based on your bucket name as well in 5.0 version in Couchbase. They've changed this one. This role-based bucket name, they've made it. So, but as of now, this is fine. So we created this one. So basically this is the Spring profile concept, where you can have different profiles, and you can which one is active right now. The default is Dave. So if you run this application, so it will read from there. It will do localhost student. So if you make it active staging, it will read from QA, it will read from staging. Or you can run this same application or the as a jar file by giving the -d spring.profile.active equal to dev or active equal to staging, like that. We'll see that one shortly. How do we run from as a jar file, right? Let's run this application again. So we want to see, like, it works the same way as it was working. It should give the same result. Like, our post should work, our get should work, everything should work. Nothing should fail when you point it to application.yml file. And it's the same way. It will just do any env.get property and all, so it will get it from there. So now let's go ahead and get started. Let's make it 0.05, give sk1, change something kind of deal, right? 200, okay, status, we got it. So now let's look at here and see if the documents got inserted or not. See, 005 got inserted here, right? sk1, rout, dl, all this got inserted. If you do a get, you'll get the response back also. If you do a 0005, you got the response back. So our get is working, our post is working. Even delete also will work. So let's not worry about that one. So what we did, yeah, we created the application.yml file. Now let's look at here. How do we run as a jar file? So we knew, like, how to run this as a Java applications. So you can build this from here, or you can do in the command line ambient clean install. So you want to build this one first to generate the jar file. So for that, you can do this, run as the build, then clean install, run this. So then you can go to your project folder, cd target. Okay, still it's building. Let it finish the build. Okay, build success. Now let's go here and go to the target. Okay, we got the jar created. So you can run like this: java -jar -t spring.profiles.active equal to dev. You can do QA or prod. So when you do QA and prod, it will read from your QA environment and prod environment. Now I have given some dummy Couchbase host, dummy Couchbase host here. You can give your whatever host is as per your QA where your Couchbase server is configured. Then it will read from there. So as of now, if you run this, execute this jar, you'll get up and running. Then you can hit the endpoint, you can get the same result. See, you got it started. Now if you go and try to hit the endpoint, you'll get the response. So that's all about this video. So we learned some Couchbase concepts, deep concepts. Then we refactored the code, how to run the same application in different environments. That's all about this video. So stay tuned for the next set of videos. Thanks for watching.